Hello and welcome to Empire of Wargames. My name is ePlash and today we are going to talk about if start collectings are still the way to go for Age of Sigmar, or if GW should revise them, release a new product, or give new players and existing players other options to get units more effectively. If you enjoy the content, consider leaving a thumbs up, subscribing, and helping the channel out on Ko-Fi if you can. Alright, let's get into the video. Alright, even as a person who might be playing Age of Sigmar exclusively, you might have noticed or heard that there are big changes being made in Warhammer 40k when it comes to their starter boxes or their introduction boxes for factions. They were once called Start Collectings, similar to Age of Sigmar, but now they are called Combat Patrol boxes. They are more uniform, more expensive, but offer a very similar out-of-the-box experience no matter which faction you pick. And this made me think if start collecting boxes are still the way to go for Age of Sigmar, or if GW is going to change them up, or if GW even needs to change them up. And here are a couple of things I was thinking about when it comes to possibilities and if it's necessary or not. First up, when it comes to combat patrols, they have an obvious advantage in that they all cost the same price, which is not the case for start collectings. They are all more or less uniform, which means you are getting 500 points out of a box no matter what. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, obviously, because units have varying costs, but it's more or less always 500 points, and you can play them out of the box in a combat patrol game, thus the name. So they do make a lot of sense, especially for new players. They are not really confusing. They are pretty straightforward. If you want to play your first 500 point game of Warhammer 40k, you're going to pick that up. That wasn't the case at all for start collecting. Start collectings range from 230 points, which was the Slaanesh start collecting, up to over 700 points for the Chaos Space Marine start collecting. And the ranges in Age of Sigmar are not that insane, but they are pretty much equal when it comes to that. They are pretty diverse when it comes to what is included, the savings, and when it comes to the point differences. So I thought, what would it look like if Age of Sigmar would do a more uniform box for each faction, which you could just pick up and play with? Now, the most obvious thing I was thinking about is to just make boxes 500 points or 750 if they want to make it a little bit more expensive, because Age of Sigmar really lives from bigger games. I don't think Age of Sigmar 500 point games are that interesting, or they really don't work that well. I think Age of Sigmar needs more points. So I think 750 point boxes with core battalions included would be perfect. And the core battalions in 3rd edition, as you might know, as you can see on the screen right now, are the Warlord Battalion, the Battle Regiment, the Grand Battery, Vanguard, Linebreaker not so much, and Command Entourage. So making those into boxes would be a perfect deal for new players and for existing players alike, depending on the savings, obviously. Now, as you can see, not all of the core battalions are equal, which means Linebreaker is obviously going to be way too expensive, and Command Entourage is going to be a little bit boring depending on the faction. So I think making a Warlord core battalion box or a Battle Regiment or Vanguard would work well. Grand Battery, Linebreaker, and Command Entourage I wouldn't take into account because they are just not that interesting, especially for new players. And I think those quote-unquote starter boxes or faction starters should be a little bit more geared towards new players than existing ones. And that's also how I would name those boxes. I would name them Age of Sigmar Battalion boxes. So similar to Combat Patrols, making them uniform, offering 750 points, and either a Warlord Battalion, Battle Regiment, or a Vanguard, depending on your faction. Not all 3 per faction, that would be perfect, but that's never going to happen. But one of those per faction is fine, and I think that would improve start collectings quite a bit if the savings stay around the same, which is approximately 33% or 1/3 of the price off. I would also appreciate GW not putting any name characters in faction starters just because it makes the box that much more attractive to buy multiple times and have a 1500 point army to go whenever you pick up 2 of them. And it's just that easy to start Age of Sigmar. And I think it would offer a more uniform and ideal start to get into Age of Sigmar, because Age of Sigmar itself, when it comes to the rules and when it comes to the general, actually playing the game, is rather simple. It's straightforward. The dice rolling is really fast and interesting. But the thing that confuses a lot of new players, including me, like half a year ago, was how you build lists, how battalions work. What am I even doing here? Do I need more heroes? Because that seems to be the focus of the game, and it just confuses new players. And giving new players just a straight up box which they can just, assemble, paint, and play with would be a dream. And once they understand rules a little bit better, how their faction works, then they can make more informed purchases and expand their army however they want. And I think that should be the goal. GW is making more money along the way. Obviously, they are not going to make things cheaper. That's just the reality of the situation. So they are going to make those boxes a little bit more expensive than Star Collectings, because 750 points is quite a hefty number, even for Age of Sigmar. But I think anything below 750 points is really not worth playing. If you have any experience playing 500 points matches with the new Age of Sigmar 3rd edition rule set, please let me know. And please let me know how you handle it, because I would be interested to try it out if you have a little bit more custom rules to them, because, running big monsters on a 500 points game just doesn't seem very fun. Other than that, why am I making this video? I just basically think start collectings are a little bit outdated. They don't offer the necessary tools for a new player to understand the game and to start. And I think the starter boxes, the Extremist edition, for example, with a little bit of terrain and 2 factions, is way too restrictive. You are getting 2 factions. Maybe you don't like either of them. Maybe you don't like the terrain. Whatever it may be, I think it's too restrictive. It's a good starter set if you have a friend who likes a faction and you happen to like the other faction, in which case it's perfect. Otherwise, please just buy whatever faction you like and don't go for the cheapest one. If Warhammer is a more expensive hobby, especially in your country, which might be New Zealand or Australia in very extreme cases, just take it slow. Just buy 1 box at a time and, slowly build up your army. And I really think Star Collectings or a faction starter could be doing a way better job than Star Collectings are doing currently, because they are so varied. They are not uniform at all. The points are all over the place. The prices are different. And you can't just assemble all the models, paint them, and play against another Star Collecting, because the points are so wildly different. So yeah, if you have any opinions on the whole conversation on the topic, please drop them in the comments below. I would, as always, love to have a constructive discussion, and I'll answer as soon as I can. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.